Wonderful people, it is your boy Crabs back with another video. Decided to do a ban list prediction video. Actually, not even a ban list prediction, it's more like a ban list opinion. What I feel like should be banned, should be limited, semi-limited, so on and so forth, for the next ban list. These cards aren't a lot, but I feel like they'll have like a huge impact if they do actually get removed, and it'll probably balance out the meta a bit. But we'll obviously have to see if that'll be the case, because there are 3 new archetypes that did actually come out in Tactical Masters. So if the side set is just as nuts as the side set before, where Adventures came out, then we probably in for some more shenanigans. But yeah, without further ado, we're going to go straight to the ban section. There are 4 cards that I think that should be banned. Personally, for me, I think the cards that should be banned is Mystic Mine, definitely. Artifact Dagda, I will explain that. Crystron Hulky Frybrax, and then another card that should also be banned is Chaos Ruler. So now my reasoning for the 4 is, I'll just go into depth in the other in the 4, is that Mystic Mine, it has been a problem card before, but right now in the current meta it has like crept back up again. I mean, there's been so many people that have actually won with Mystic Mine, playing it in the main. I mean, the recent YCS in Brazil, the person who won that tournament was playing Mind Burn. I'm sure nobody saw it coming, but the fact that it is such a good card when it comes to a deck where you're literally burning your opponent, you're not even worried about having monsters on board, it's insane. And it's all due to one card. And yes, there's a lot of people that say, yeah, just play the outs for it, but I mean, some people also have to like keep in mind of playing cards for other decks. And Mystic Mine is not just a field spell that can be played in certain decks. You can literally play it in anything. So yeah, I think Mystic Mine should be banned. It doesn't really promote good gameplay. So for me, hopefully they do ban it, but we'll see. And then the next one I mentioned was Artifact Dagda. A lot of people will think I'm crazy. They think that Scythe should be banned. I feel like Scythe shouldn't be banned, because Scythe has been in the game for years compared to Dagda. And I mean, also Artifact Sanctum, which is another card that people play to potentially Scythe lock their opponent, has also been out for quite some time, but it was not as prevalent as it is, or Scythe I should say is not as prevalent as it is right now because of Dagda. I think Dagda making it so easy to get Scythe set, not just added to hand, but like set in your spell and trap zone, and setting up a board where you can actually pop your Scythe during your opponent's turn and then potentially locking your opponent out of their extra deck. I think the fact that Dagda's able to do that, and it only requires 2 monsters, it's easy to summon. And with the next card that I'm going to speak about, it's even easier to get that card out. So the next card I want to mention is Crystron Hulky Frybrax. I think that card should be banned. I mean, it was fun playing it. I loved playing Crystron Hulky Frybrax in my personal deck. It is such a good card. The fact that you are either going to be able to link climb into access code using Hulky Frybrax, or you're able to get enough resources to go into like an Appaloosa, or if you need specific monsters on your field that are actually tuners, it allows you to do that. It just actually like extends combos even further, because most combo decks these days are using Hulky Frybrax because they actually run tuners, and the tuners that we have currently in the game are actually broken. Like even the one that just got released, Jet Synchron. Also, I do not know why Konami actually released this card. This card's absolutely crazy. I've said in my previous video that if you play it right, if you normal summon Jet Synchron, that's literally an access code because of cards like Crystron Halki Frybrax. It's just insane. So I think that card should be banned. Limiting it to 1 was not really like affecting most combo decks before, because most of the combo decks I've seen, they only ran 1 anyway, unless they were Synchro Turbo decks, then they would run 3. But running it at 1 did not really affect other combo players. So banning it completely, I think that is a good idea. It's had its time, it's had its run. I think it's time to go. The last card that I think should be banned is Chaos Ruler, and Chaos Ruler is also linked to Halki Frybrax, and I will explain why. Chaos Ruler is a crazy synchro monster. It was just as good when people were playing it in Dragon Link, but now ever since the Punk archetype came out, it is just as broken. Like, Punks by themselves is like a really good engine, really good deck on its own. I've seen pure Punks do very well, Punk Therion, and anything Punk Adventure I've seen do very well, and it's all because of the fact that they can easily get into Chaos Ruler. The fact that the combo with the Punks and the Chaos Ruler allows you to chain block your Chaos Ruler is absolutely insane, because you would chain link 1 Chaos Ruler, then obviously chain link 2 Geonote. Even if you don't have that combo, it's an easy mill 5, and most of the cards that you want in your to mill are not even important to actually add to hand. You just want them engraved. That's why Dragon Link players really loved Chaos Ruler, and I mean Punk players are really liking Chaos Ruler. I'm loving Chaos Ruler because I play a zombie version. Again, you can check my deck profile as well. But Chaos Ruler needs to be banned. I think it's a real problem. It also allows itself to be revived if you just banish a light and a dark. And in the Punk combos, one of the cards that you do actually banish is a light, so you'll always have 1 light target. The dark target, if you are playing the deck properly, then dark targets would always be engraved, but that's just my personal opinion. But yeah, I think that's the only cards that I feel like should get banned. I don't feel as if cards such as like the ones that are like Floodgates or your Super Polys, I know a lot of people do not like Super Poly in this format, especially because of tier elements, but I feel like Super Poly is not really a problem. And yeah, that's how I feel like about the ban cards. Hopefully they actually do ban some of these cards. If they can ban at least 2 out of these 4 cards, I'll be happy. But obviously the next video will compare what I thought should be banned to the cards that actually got banned. So all right, now let's just go to the limited section. So there are 4 cards again that I feel like should get limited. So we'll start with the first card. Water Enchantress. I feel like Water Enchantress is an absolutely crazy card in the adventure deck. The fact that you can search rights with it, not only from your deck, you can actually take it from your graveyard, and the effect, you can activate it from hand or from grave. Absolutely insane. Like, there are times where you can open 2 Water Enchantresses and you don't feel like you've actually bricked, because it still has its special summon effect as well. So it's not going to be like a dead card in your hand. But yeah, Water Enchantress needs to be limited, if not semi-limited. So it's between limited and semi-limited for me and Water Enchantress. Second one that I think should get banned, or limited I should say, is Swap Frog. The reason why I say Swap Frog is because a lot of players that used to play Totally Awesome would their setup would not necessarily rely too much on getting your frog package going. Like, there were people that used to just go into Bahamut Shark, and then Bahamut Shark gets your Totally Awesome. So most of the water decks that I've seen use that type of combo to get the Toad Negate, which used to be like the best way to get totally awesome before, like for example you get a Nibiru or you get a fake Veiled, or or your opponent has some sort of interaction, which was fine. But now the fact that Splight is able to actually exploit this totally awesome is crazy. And I feel like the only reason why it's able to do that, it's because of Swap Frog. Because Swap Frog is not a once per turn, and you're able to dump Ronin Totem, and you can dump Swap Frog again due to the Splight's effects of reviving Swap Frog back. So if you were to limit it to 2, or limit it to 1, I should say, I think that would be that would balance out the deck itself, having it a bit more difficult for your opponent to, or for Splight players to actually get that totally awesome. Yes, it will still be like able to actually get the totally awesome out, but the fact that there's less Swap Frogs and you have to use something else, I think it will change the way people play the Splight deck. Splight is absolutely nuts right now, so I feel like that should get limited to 1 as well. And then another card that I think should get limited is Branded Fusion. I wanted to say Branded Opening, but Branded Fusion is way better than Branded Opening, to be honest. Yes, branded Opening, you get your Aluba, you get your Branded Fusion, but at the end of the day, you'd rather have Branded Fusion. And once you have Branded Fusion, you play Branded Fusion and it's not interrupted, then you literally have opened the floodgates. And Branded Fusion's not it's not limited to sending specific cards. Yes, you have to send like a Fawn of Albaz and something else to summon your fusion monster. But once you've summoned once you've sent the right cards to the graveyard, then from there it can facilitate some more plays in the grave. I mean, I've seen a lot of decks or a lot of tier element decks that are playing Branded Fusion, and if you just send Fawn of Albaz and your tier elements monster, then you have just started the tier elements play by just playing Branded Fusion. Yes, it can be ashed, but this is a card that not everybody's playing. When I mean the card, I mean Ash, and not everybody's prepared for somebody that is playing Branded Fusion in a tier elements deck, if that makes sense. But I feel like Branded Fusion right now should get limited, maybe semi-limited, but we'll have to see from there. And then the last card I think should get limited, especially because if they were to hit these other decks, I feel like this card would need to be hit as well, because the deck that people play this card in would be crazy if this thing was still a 3. So the other card I think should get limited is Harpy's Featherstorm. Harpy's Featherstorm is absolutely nuts. The fact that in the Flunderies deck, there is so much advantage to Flunderies, because the draws that you can get from a Flunderies deck, due to the fact that the Flunder players don't actually play their extra deck, because they don't really special, not even they don't special summon. So you can play Extrav, you can play Prosperities, you can play Duality, because Duality you locked into normal summoning, and that's all that Flunderies does. So you can basically play 3 sets of pots. Technically, you're basically playing Pot of Greed. You're playing 6 copies of Pot of Greed in your deck. And I mean, there have been times where I've played against a Flunder player, and then they would draw into Duality. Well, they would play Duality, they draw into Prosperities. Then they can just play with Prosperities and just get the cards that they need. And I mean, limiting a card like Harpy's Featherstorm, because it's so good in this deck, literally shutting your opponent out of doing anything while you control a winged beast is insane. It's literally searchable in a Flunder deck because of the amount of draw power this deck has. So limiting it to 1 would like lessen the chances of your opponent having it in their opening hand or drawing into it with the pots. So Harpy's Featherstorm at 1, maybe at 2. I'm being very lenient with this limited list, but you know what? I'm going to say strictly 1. Strictly 1. Out of all the other limited cards that I said, I think Featherstorm should go to 1. And then talking about semi-limits, we're going to go straight to the semi-limit. If Konami does not hit Water Enchantress, then they need to hit Rites. Rites of Aramesia is literally your starter to your adventure plays. And with your adventure plays, if you're to play the adventures and you have the right cards in hand to discard, not just discarding the equip, because the equip has the other effect, but if you have the right cards to discard due to like Faithful's effect, then you can pop off from there as well. So I feel like semi-limiting rights to 1 or semi-limiting it to 2 is a good idea, because Water Enchantress as well does not only search it from deck, you can search it from graveyard, so it won't really hurt as much. Yes, you would love to see it in your opening hand, or you'd love to draw into it, but the fact that it's still searchable, or you can grab it from grave, it deserves to like get a little hit. And again, just like Harpy's Featherstorm, I feel like if these decks do get hit regarding their key cards, then I also feel like a card like Sword Soul Emergence should also get reduced to 2. Because if it doesn't, it's going to give Sword Souls a bit more of an advantage compared to the other decks that got hit. Yes, there's not a lot of people that are playing Emergence right now, but I feel like in the future, if they hit these combo decks and do not, or these other decks and they do not hit Sword Soul can make a comeback. There's still people playing Sword Soul now, and they're still doing pretty well. So I feel like putting Sword Soul Emergence to 2 is a good idea. It's not really going to affect the deck as much, but just reduce the advantage that Sword Souls could have. And then the last card that they should semi-limited, I really don't like the fact that this card needs to be semi-limited. I feel like it should be either limited, banned, or not on the list. Semi-limit doesn't really affect it, but I mean, if Konami still wants players to actually play the archetypes, these specific archetypes, they would not hit it as much. But I think E-Telly should go to 2. E-Telly is a crazy card right now. It's literally you special summon combo. Like the amount of times I've seen somebody combo off just by playing E-Telly because of the punks, it's insane. E-Telly equals Chaos Ruler, and then Chaos Ruler is Hulky Frybrax. Hulky Frybrax is whatever you want to do after, just by a mere E-Telly. Obviously I'm saying uninterrupted, but E-Telly facilitates so much. And there are even players that are playing it in Splite because of Cyframe Gamma. So playing E-Telly, you special Gamma's a level 2, you do your Sprite plays. So yeah, limiting or semi-limiting this card to 2, I think is a good idea. Nothing more, nothing less, even though I don't like the semi-limited list. But hey, it's on my list, but this is the best I think Konami can do at the time. And then now we're going to move to cards that should no longer be on the list. These are cards that I feel like, I mean, they've been on the list for quite some time. The game has evolved like immensely. So I don't think these cards would really affect the meta. They're not meta breaking anymore. And it would be nice to see if these cards that I'm talking about, if they are used in like the old archetypes, how the decks would perform once they get these cards back. So the first card is Cyberjar. Just Cyberjar to 1. Cyberjar is not going to do anything. And I mean, most people do not want to have their opponents not only have their board cleared, but to draw into their combo pieces. So yeah, I feel like Cyberjar 2-1 won't do a problem. I mean, the only way you can actually special summon it face down that I'm thinking of is through maybe Doki Doki or with Gallic Granite, but I don't think people would be playing like a deck where they just do that to get Cyberjar set, and not a lot of people are attacking into something just to flip it. They would rather just pop the card. So yeah, Cyberjar 2-1, we'll see what happens. Don't think it needs to be on the list anymore. Orcus Hop Horror 2-1. Orcus Hop Horror is a fantastic card, don't get me wrong, but I feel like right now in our meta, it's not going to do much. I mean, I have not seen Orcus players, even though they add specific engines to the deck, it's not doing as well as you would expect. I mean, if they start adding Orcus to like meta decks and having Harp Horror, it could change, but I feel like Harp Horror won't really affect the meta as much. So just having it to 1 just to see how Orcus does would be awesome to see. And yeah, the game is like way too different for Harp Horror to be meta defying. But yes, I think Harp Horror to 1 should be fine. And then another card is Premature Burial. I know it sounds really weird, but Premature Burial to 1, I don't feel like it's going to affect the meta. I feel like it's Monster Reborn and you have to pay life points. And with Monster Reborn, it's a bit better, Monster Reborn, because you don't necessarily have to target your monsters in grave. You can target your opponents. And Monster Reborn now is not doing crazy things. Yes, mid-late game, it can save you a match, just like in the anime. But right now, Monster Reborn is not a card where it just opens up the floodgates when it comes to combos and specific locks and stuff like that. And a lot of decks are playing like cards that are their own, like an archetype Monster Reborn. So having Monster Reborn right now has not really affected us. And I feel like Premature Burial is the same thing. Premature Burial, you pay life points. You're not going to play this card in game 3 due to time, number 1. And number 2, it's just going to be basically an extender per se. And it can be balled. Your target can be DD crowed. So again, Premature Burial to 1. Don't really think it's going to affect the game. We've had so many old cards come back into the game, and they have not been meta changing. So I think Premature Burial coming back will do the exact same thing. And then the other card I think should come back is just one copy of Tellarknight Ptolemaeus. I think I'm sorry if I botched the Tellarknight name, but this card requires I think it's 2 or more Xyz monsters. Oh, 2 or more Xyz. I think this card requires about 2 or more level 4s, and its effect is basically to rank up 1 level. And I don't think people are going to use a lot of resources just to go up a rank up so they can go into something like an infinity. Because by the time you're setting up a board like that, there are a lot of like decks right now that could either interrupt you or lock you into doing anything like that. And also, the decks that we see out here don't really care much about Infinity. I mean, the Cyber Dragon deck that is playing Infinity in its own deck, not really doing as well. So it would be nice to see Ptolemaeus back, just to see if Tellarknight players would actually play this card, if it's just as good or if it's just decent. But yeah, I think that going to 1 isn't a problem. Then Performer Pal Monkey Board. That's another card that I feel like should actually go to 2. It was previously at 1, so I feel like it should go to 2. It's not really doing much. I haven't seen a Pendulum player top and having Monkey Board in the deck. Obviously, people who are playing Pendulums will probably hate on me because I said that, but I feel like personally Monkey Board is not really breaking the actual Pendulum decks. And then also there are 2 cards that I feel like should go to 3. They are currently at 1, but bringing them back to 3 won't really affect the meta. Dynamite to 3. I mean, True Draco's still a good deck, but it won't really make them tier 0.5 if you have Dynamite to 3. But I would love to see more people play True Dracos, so Dynamite to 3 won't really do much. And then also Light Stage. I feel like Light Stage, I mean, Light Stage to 3 shouldn't really be a problem. Not a lot of people are playing Light Stage or Trick Stars right now. Yes, it is used as a tech card in some Sprite decks, but it's just to get another level 2. So if people want to use it as a tech card, cool, fantastic. But I feel like it would be nice to see a few more Trickstar players. I know that sounds weird, but yeah, a few more Trickstar players back in as soon as a card like Light Stage comes back. But yeah, that is my list, guys. I hope you enjoyed my list. I hope you hate my list as well, because I'd love to hear you guys what your opinions are in the comments. This is personally for me, yes, there are some cards that you guys will probably agree with, and there are some cards where you think I'm an absolute idiot, which is fine, absolutely fine. But whatever your opinion is, just drop it down in the comments below. I'd really love to have a discussion with this ban list before the ban list comes out, and then I want to do a comparison video after. That's gonna be it's gonna be fantastic the moment I actually see that. But yeah, that's it for today, guys. If you guys want to see more content, I'm doing this channel specifically for Yu-Gi-Oh, but if you want to check my gaming channel for other stuff, link will be in the description. If you guys want to catch me on Twitch as well, I'm on Twitch, Instagram, and TikTok, so I'll put those all in my description too. And yeah, you guys going to see more of me. I'm going to be doing some pack openings as well. I am doing a small project, but that I'm still keeping in the background. But yeah, just stay tuned, and I will catch you guys in the next video. It's been your boy Krabs. Peace.
I feel alive, yeah. Look at me racing the time. Bitches that I'm putting on to the side. I don't owe you nothing, did it? Put a ring on your finger, I was passing the time. Yeah, hated I started with that, but anyway, niggas still on the grind. Told you that I'm coming for what is mine. Got a couple of them pages in my head, find a way to take it straight to the heart. Dotted line, I'm the bigger artist. Got my niggas that gotta play a bigger